Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to Web3 Sunday Sessions. I hope everyone is having a great day, and welcome to everyone that is watching live, as well as those of you that are watching later on as a recorded version. Now, just a reminder, please feel very welcome to use the comment section to ask any questions throughout the session. And if you could give me a signal in there if the sound and video is working well, that would be great. Just send a message or something. Also, as this is a Sunday session, it's laid back, lasting around 30 minutes. So feel free to just chill out and just enjoy the conversation. So as many of you might know, last week we had the official launch of the RealNifty NFT marketplace, which we have a focus on the physical and digital when it comes to fine art, and we help creatives showcase their NFT collections to the world. So you can actually check this out over at www.realnifty.xyz. And it's just fantastic for us as a team to be having this marketplace live, and I hope you really enjoy it and like the layout. And if you have any feedback, please feel free to contact us. So we've actually launched with 5 fantastic launch artists, and with this in mind, I'm honored to introduce one of those launch artists as my guest this week, and it's the wonderful Ola Cichy. So Ola, welcome to the Sunday session. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Super happy to be here. And thank you very much for tuning in. And thank you very much, Jamie, for having me here. I'm super happy having my
Brilliant.
coffee.
Brilliant. No, just to give a bit of background on Ola, for those that don't know, Ola is a Canadian-based artist whose practice includes canvas painting, drawing, augmented reality art, and music. And Ola has this wonderful spirituality about her life, which is backed up by her studies in psychology. She's also released her integration collection of art on the RealNifty marketplace, which is available for purchase now. So feel free to go and have a look, and we'll get more into this all later on. But Ola, as you know, I'm a fan of your artwork, and it's fantastic to have you here. So I think people would love to get to know a bit more about you for those that don't. So I'd love to to tell everyone about a bit about your background and how you got into art and how you suddenly found yourself in Web3, that kind of thing.
Thank you. That was a nice introduction. Thank you very much. So I come from a family of a very artistic family. My mom was a professional artist, so I started learning art and music at a very young age. And so I was born and grew up on the Baltic Sea of Russia. It belongs to Russia now. Back in the days, it was the Soviet Union. And it was, of course, Russia is really big on arts and that whole culture. So that was my start, and then I continued throughout my whole life with different professions that involved some sort of artistic skills. And now I'm a painter and I do digital art and I'm a musician. I work as a curator for the gallery, and I also started dipping my toes into augmented reality art as well. And this is my first NFT collection. So
No, that's fantastic. I mean, like, how have you found the Web3 space so far? Because I know, like, a lot of artists that get into it, they find it quite difficult to transition. But I know a lot of people feel that the Web3 space is really friendly, and I found that when I first entered, like 2 years ago. Like, if you have any questions about anything, there's always someone around to sort of answer it. And when it comes to art, I just feel like it's a really great space for people to enjoy art from a different style and really help people get into an art world that might have been more difficult in the real world.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And I think it came with just education, finding out more.
Mhm.
Because let's say even last year when I started learning about NFTs, I just couldn't even grab the concept. I'm like, well, what is it actually? Is it just glorified, JPEGs? Like, is it digital art? Like, how does it? And then when you learn about the context of Web3, of metaverse, and
Mm.
ultimately when you understand that the whole decentralization that is happening, then it really makes sense. Then NFTs make sense, and then you understand how it's a great opportunity for an artist to keep your royalties and be seen by like your audience increases massively, and it's a different audience that now you have reached to.
Yeah.
So kind of like similar, let's say, like 20 years ago, if you lived in a small village, the chances of you being seen as an artist, dancer, singer, whatever, are slim, right? And then all of a sudden, internet came on and YouTube, and now you have millionaire teenagers that doing just some funny things that they, because they got access to an audience, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing, I feel like Web3, this is exactly it, and it's now more in the artist's kind of hands.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I feel like the world's kind of got a bit smaller for artwork, and more people are able to showcase their art that you would never have like seen like years ago. And also like with the whole pandemic and everything, I think that kind of pushed the technology forward and allowed artists to really find new ways to showcase their artwork and keep selling it, because obviously you can hold exhibitions during the pandemic, and so people like went online and started having conversations, and then obviously Web3 just went crazy, and it's been really fun. And I think it's been a great space for artists to really continue to being creative during that time, and it's just kind of continued on.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, like, tell us a bit more about your artwork, Ola, and yeah, where do you get your inspiration from? And I think you're based in Canada at the moment, aren't you? So how did
Yeah.
you end up
Yes, so there's lots of snow right now.
there?
Well, I came to Canada many years ago, and then like 20 years ago, and then I moved, and then I came back. So I've lived in 7 different countries since
Oh,
then,
wow.
and kind of in between for like years in each. Right, I'm not even counting places where I'd lived for just a few months. So and now in Canada, and it's great opportunities to work and I mean, I love Canada, so I am Canadian.
Canada is beautiful. I really need to go out there. But like you said, I think it's very cold at the moment, and I heard
It
there's
is.
lots
That's the
of
only thing. That's the only thing. Yeah, just like the climate. Then I came here straight from the tropics. After 5 years in the tropics, the transition
Oh,
is
wow.
is rough. Is rough. So that's.
Yeah. And then would you say that's kind of changed your art style? What would you describe your art style as?
Well, it's evolving now. I'd say it's. I do a lot of portraits. I worked as a portraitist for a while, and I'm as a psychologist also. I'm fascinated with human nature, and that's what inspires me the most.
Yeah.
I always say that I've traveled the world, but the most fascinating journeys in my life were the journeys into the human soul,
Mm.
and that's how I feel. So that's why I love portraits and I love abstracts. And abstracts is something relatively recent for me, maybe last 3 years or so. That I find that you can really explore emotions with abstracts, and it's actually much harder than I thought.
Yeah.
Because yeah, my background was more representative. It was landscapes, it was figure drawing, kind of like more representative art.
Hmm.
And this is now be diving into more abstract. So how to describe? Probably yeah, abstract slash representative still. Um, that would be the two words that came to my mind now.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's great. And I think like, yeah, I mean, I really suggest people go over to the website to have a look, because some of Ola's artwork is fantastic. And what I take from it myself is I love your mix of from your life, where you got your spirituality side and you've also got your psychology side, and they kind of combine to me. I mean, yeah, tell me a bit about how you discovered all this spirituality in your work. And I know you spent some time with some monks as well, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I lived in a couple of monasteries,
Wow.
Tibetan Buddhist monasteries in Nepal, and that was a beautiful experience. I think I've always been a spiritual person ever since I remember myself, but like my parents were atheists actually.
Mhm.
But then I lost my parents very young. So when my dad passed, I was 11 tragically, and then I was so traumatized, and I started questioning all these things like where did he go, is there life after death, if there is god, and if there is, then why does he allow this, and that led me into this interesting journey where I I had read all existence holy scriptures. I'd studied the Bible for 20 years. I'd read Bhagavad Gita and all the Eastern philosophy too, and then during my travels I would definitely dive into all sort of spiritual practices and explore it and learn. And like I shared in my past interview, I climbed Himalayas to learn from real yogis, like not the Western yogis, but the yogis that are like the real ones. And had a translator with me who would translate the conversations. So at that time, I was writing a paper called Brain on Faith.
Okay.
So that whole part of human psyche really, really fascinates me, as I had been a believer, and then I went through a stage when I was an atheist and an agnostic and everything. And it's I came to a place right now where it's a very humble place, that I feel that we know so little, so little, but I know there is much more to the world that can be seen with the naked eye.
Yeah.
And that I try to put in my art. That's what I put in my art, those concepts. I'm not claiming to know anything, but it's a question mark, and it's just showing that there is more than the naked eye can see. And
Yeah.
that's where I love to use, for example, AR, like augmented reality technology.
Yeah. I mean, your use of AR has been fantastic, and I think this is what I love about your artwork, is you just have all these unique perspectives that you just bring into your artwork. You've got, like I said, the psychology side, you've got the spirituality side, but you also mix that with the technology side as well. And yeah, tell us a bit more about your AR experiences and how you've like integrated that into your artwork.
Well, technology is my weakest so far. I'm not super high tech person, but I do like to. I love the concepts. I love to play with it, and we'll see. Maybe I'll learn and become much better at it. But yeah, here technology to me, it's like it's another. I mean, it's another tool, and it's another. It feels like another realm, right? And it feels like magic. Whenever new technology comes in, it feels like magic. Like, let's say telephone 100 years ago was magic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or internet or anything, right? So to me, when I saw augmented reality, I was like, what? Like, oh my God, like I want to learn this. What is it? How? So it's because yeah, you can embed some content into a physical object, which would be my painting, right? And then it gives like this window into another world. So to me, that is a very kind of cool spiritual concept. And the fact that you can put into a painting, you can embed music, there's my voice, my poetry, right? And another digital um, motion graphics and other art media that all can be kind of embedded into a physical piece of art.
Yeah.
That to me is really cool.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And I mean, if you guys haven't already, anyone that's listening in, like Ola's socials have been absolutely fantastic in showcasing this work. There's a piece on the Real Nifty marketplace at the moment that uses augmented reality, and you just see these shifts in direction, and it just incorporates all the music in the background as well. And it's fantastic. You should definitely check it out. And yeah, I'm just overwhelmed by how sort of cool it is and how it all works together. So what's the program you use for that again? Because you have to download an app to hold it in front of your painting or your NFTs, and then it sort of comes to life.
That's correct. That's correct. And there are different platforms I use. It's called RT Vive. We can put a link in here. Yes, and it's basically an app. It works just like a camera. You open it, and it looks like a phone camera, and you
Right.
point it onto the painting, and then it comes alive.
Wow.
That's all there is. Yeah. And then on my side, when I use the RT Vive actual software, then it's a little bit different. So I create the digital content, right? And then I go into the software, and then I link that to my painting, to the physical image, that has those trigger points that is going to trigger the content to play on your screen.
That's great. I mean, it's technology at the moment. It just seems like in 2022, it just really kicked off. We've got this whole like AR augmentation that's happening, and then obviously all the AI stuff. We've got like the physical, the sort of art pieces that have been using programs like DALI 2, and then we've got the Chat GPT where you can literally type in conversations.
I know.
It's scary.
It is, and it's like, and I can understand the anxiety in the art community,
Yeah,
right? Because we're like, oh my God, what is it? And it's still new, and it's like, how do you work around this? And we'll see. I
yeah,
think it's just a different media for us to
yeah,
explore, and I think
exactly.
creativity is going to just explode right now, right? Because
Yeah,
now you don't actually need to know how to paint with a brush or pencil or anything. You can just like create art from here, create a concept, and
yeah.
then AI does it for you. So that's a whole new level.
It's a whole new level, and I don't think like artists, traditional artists, don't have to be scared of it. I think like it's just like you say, it's just another way to produce art. And what I like about traditional art is, the stories behind it and the talent and the hours that artists put into it. It's very different to AI art, I would say, but they both have, their unique properties, and it's really going to be interesting for 2023 of how this develops. And because it's just developing so quickly at the moment, and it's going to be interesting to see where that all goes. But yeah,
Absolutely.
so Ola, I know you're a traveler. We've had many conversations about traveling before. When this comes to your artwork, how does this work? Do you kind of like prefer to take ideas from when you're traveling and then go and paint them all in one place, or do you like take a sketchbook with you when you travel and do it that kind of way? How is your creation process when it comes to your art?
Oh, well, it's been all of the above, of course. I never traveled without a sketchbook. So I
Yeah,
always do. And I had lots of, charcoals. When I lived in the Caribbean, I would be sitting on the beach and like charcoal in someone whom I seen. And whenever I have a chance, and I always did, whenever I lived, I would take classes from local artists, and you kind of learn because it's different cultures. They see it differently. They use different techniques. So, for
mhm,
example, like South America, when I lived in South America, I've noticed the artists use bright saturated colors versus European, for example. And when you look at nature and everything, those tropical fruits and everything, it's no surprise that they use those colors. So, and
yeah,
then I started introducing more of those red colors into my works too. And then so and then you get inspirations, and then something you see and you're like, oh, I love this. I want to play with this concept,
yeah.
and I have. Yeah, but
Yeah,
the creation happens in solitude for me mostly. Like,
right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand that. I mean, it's definitely a way that a lot of artists work. They just need that space where they can come and like have those experiences out in the real world, and they just have a safe space where they can come and create their artwork.
something about it, yeah. In Colombia, when I lived, I belonged to an atelier of artists, and I would go there and we would paint all together in the same room, and it was fun. It was
Yeah,
great people and everything, but I found myself that I couldn't really kind of tune into, especially if it's like the deep works that like this collection, this very emotional. There's a lot of things like I can't. I have to be like tune into the inner world rather than just
mhm.
the outer world. Um, so it maybe depends on the style and where mentally you are at, what you're trying to create.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I can definitely see that. And as you mentioned, then your collection on the Real Nifty Marketplace. So for anyone that hasn't seen it already, please go and have a look. It's really some great work. And it's actually called integration. So I'd love you, Ola, to tell us a bit more about the thought process a bit behind the collection and how it all sort of came together.
Hmm. Yeah, integration, meaning kind of two things for me here. One is emotional integration because I've gone through an interesting stage in life during the pandemic where everything sort of collapsed for me, and then I had to face um, a lot of my own emotions and traumas, and um, like I don't want to go into my whole life story here, but I had to literally integrate parts of me that were suppressed, parts of me that were unseen, um,
Mhm.
and validated and accepted.
Right.
And that's why in this collection I kind of encourage that acceptance of human emotions, the hard parts of ourselves too. It's called like shadow work, right? And
Mhm.
in the healing community, the shadow, when you face in your own shadow, and you first you see it, then you accept it, then you love it, and you integrate it to make your fractured self whole back again.
Right.
And another part of integration is that I'm integrating different media here, which is my physical paintings, and then the music, and then the poetry, and then the AR and the digital, and then NFT. So it's integration of physical and digital kind of worlds and different media, different art media.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's such a perfect name for the collection, because you have literally integrated all those different things into one collection, and it literally makes your collection come alive. I mean, one of the pieces that I love, and which you've actually put on your socials recently, is Full Moon Instinct, and the painting itself is just has these beautiful pair of eyes that just like almost stare into your soul. But when you have that with the augmented reality techniques that you've embedded in that, so then it comes alive with the music and the moving images and the changes. It's a wonderful piece. I'd love to hear a bit more about Full Moon Instinct and the stories behind that piece.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, well, that was a part of embracing the primal part of myself, because as I like um I think that is something that I denied myself. I was always trying to be this good girl, and and then I spent my like a lot of years being a Christian, and there was a lot of repression when it came to the primal side. And I realized that that primal side, it's those instincts that it's the most ancient, the most primordial part of us that doesn't
Mhm.
have to be bad.
Yeah,
It's something that we have to listen to. It's very ancient, it's very very wise, it holds so much wisdom. When you have those primal impulses, they're there for a reason, right? We don't
yeah,
have to act upon every one of them, right? We're still smart, we have to still make our life decisions and everything, but it's good to listen to them because our gut never lies. Right. So, and I think that's what I tried to put. And then there is the feline that comes out, right? And it's like I really kind of I feel a lot of like feline in myself. If I were to have some sort of animal, what's it, the word not token, totem, uh,
oh yeah,
like
yeah,
the animal that represents me, that would be some sort of feline.
yeah.
That's yeah. Hmm.
That's awesome. I mean, like it's just, and I think it's important to remember that, because I know, like in Western society, they kind of, it's we're not so as much spiritual as other societies, and I feel like we need to remind ourselves of that part of ourselves, and I think that's why travel is so important for people.
Hmm.
It can really sort of open your mind, and for those that obviously can't travel all the time, your artwork and other creativity from around the world really helps to showcase that kind of thinking.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what it's about. It's about opening up. It's about opening up. It's about accepting different things. And I think even in the art world, right, what's happening right now, and that's my transition, for example, into the digital world, because I resisted it for a long time. I told you I got rid of my cell phone for 5 years, right? Because I was just like, I just don't like technology. I don't like where it's going, the whole social media and this whole culture. But right now, what's happening, I'm opening up. Just
Yeah,
like you open up to other cultures, you open up to other technologies, you're exploring different ways, because there is nothing right and wrong, nothing bad or good in a way, right? Like everything can be used for good, everything can be right
yeah.
if it's done wisely.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what you have to remember with technology is as long as you don't get into the bad habits of, like using it for an hour before bed and, like on your phone and having all that stuff, then it really is a useful tool for certain things. And as long as you don't, start doom scrolling through TikTok for hours until
Yeah.
you just lose like 5 hours during a day, those type of things. But when it comes to art and creativity, you can find these communities online and you can really, get to know other people. And obviously, that's what we tried to imagine with the RealNifty website. We really wanted people to be able to connect with artists like yourself on there. So we wanted to include that messaging service on there where people can actually contact you about your artwork and
Mhm.
you're able to tell them the story behind the art. Obviously, you have descriptions on there already, but say someone wants to learn a bit more about your artwork or about you yourself, they're able to reach out to you and really have that proper conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because it's really, yeah, it's the energy.
Yeah.
Yesterday, somebody bought one of my artworks, And we had this conversation, and she saw the painting like on my social media, and she felt connected. And then when we met, we were so surprised how much in common we have, right? And I think there's something energetically as an artist kind of puts something out. The person that can connect to it, relate to it, usually there is some similarities. So lots of my buyers actually are my friends. They become part of my community, and they become like my personal friends.
Yeah.
It's art is really magical. It's like a bridge between people, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It really does help to bring people together, and it creates these relationships that otherwise wouldn't have happened, you know. But people just like, you know, having a look at your artwork and then seeing something in that either they see or that you've told them about, and you know, I love that kind of you know, integration into it. So there you go. But yeah, I'd also like to invite anyone that's listening in to ask any questions. If you've got any questions for Ola, please just type into the comments, and yeah, we'll ask the question and go from there. I know that Balaji has just commented for 5 years without a mobile phone. I'm not sure whether Balaji can do that, so I'm with Balaji on this one. I don't know if I could go 5 years without a mobile phone. But, yeah, so,
Yeah,
yeah, props to you, Ola, for managing to do that.
that's
But
right.
yeah, let's talk a bit more about your collection again. So there's another piece on there which I really enjoy called Chasing Dreams, and I know it's more of like a sprite-like character with these really vibrant colours. Yeah, I'd love you to tell the audience and myself a bit more about that piece.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. And I always say that, like, I wish I could take the picture. It looks really beautiful. I'm gonna film a video to show the textures because it has those metallic inserts that really play with light beautifully. Yeah, it's a piece where I'm tapping into my inner child, and it feels like that when you're chasing dreams. It was a reminder to myself to not forget. Um, those childhood dreams, and it's again, it's probably that, that very primordial part of you, that the deep soul that has been there since you're born, that knows so much about you. And it's often we kind of leave it in our childhood, right?
Yeah.
And that piece encourages to connect to that part and go after your dreams, and that's what I'm doing.
No,
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
thank you.
That's something.
I'm so happy that you like it. Thank you.
No, I love that piece, and I feel like it's just an important reminder to, like I said, as we get older, we kind of like forget that, you know, childlike innocence, and to go for those dreams of what we wanted when we were young. And that kind of piece, I think, is there for a great reminder of to, you know, don't grow old all the time. You know, Peter Pan style, just make sure you stay young.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Because we get caught up in like everyday things and get disconnected from ourselves. And I think, to me personally, what art is about and what I'm trying to kind of put out there is that, like, art is about maybe connecting to deeper to yourself,
Yeah,
or connecting to perhaps even something bigger than yourself, and of course ultimately connecting to the source, and
hmm,
that is what the true art comes in.
yeah,
And sometimes it's the simplest I've seen. Like, for example, recently I saw Van Gogh's shoes paintings, like his old shoes, and I stood there and I looked at it and I thought, well, it's still Life of Shoes, but it tells a huge, like, a story. It made me
yeah,
pause for 15 minutes. I'm like, it tells a story. Whose shoes were those? What roads have they walked? Uh, and so on. And to me, that's what art is about, to pause
yeah.
and connect into something.
I couldn't agree more. It's for me, art is just about all those stories. I mean, even if we go back to, you know, the old sort of Renaissance paintings and that, I mean, everyone tells a completely different story, and it's so good. You can stand in front of it for hours and just really see all these little bits of stories coming up. So, I mean, I love that about artwork, definitely. Cool. So, as we touched on earlier, Ola, you're relatively new to Web3. So, I mean, if you would give any tips for any other artists out there looking to get into Web3, I mean, what would you say to them? How would you say them to approach this?
I would say definitely education first, right? To just understand even the value, because you do, once you know like the context of it, you
Mhm.
understand the value of it. And then for me, this approach with Real Nifty, that it's a bridging physical and digital. To me, this is
Mm.
amazing because this is a transition thing for someone that hasn't gone into this full, metaverse and Web3 and NFT exploration. So I think it's a great way to start. And you guys have been an amazing help with that, and answering every question in simple human terms.
Yeah,
um, yeah, and I think just excuse me.
that's okay.
Probably just opening your mind to like not be not non-judgmental and right away, and just learning about it, because it's huge opportunity, great, possibilities, and it's the future. That's where we're going, right? So um, just probably learning more about decentralization of finances, of
Mm.
cryptocurrency. That is a very important part
Yeah.
there.
No, definitely. And I think you're right. I mean, a lot of people kind of worry a bit when they're first getting into Web3 because there's a lot of different terms that they might not understand. So I think it's important for people to be able to educate them before they come in. And obviously, like you said, when people have that physical connection, when it's not just digital, so there's physical art involved with Web3, then I think there's an easier transition for people to understand what it's all about. And
Yes.
yeah, and I think like what is great for artists is that they can also try to bring over their original audience to Web3, but at the same time, I think they can find a new audience when they enter the space as well. There's going to be new people that want to like enjoy the artwork and find out more about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. I'm thinking perhaps maybe older generation,
Hmm.
people that, that not used to the art collectors, that are traditional art collectors that went to galleries, so a physical piece. Like yesterday when I talked to this buyer, right? They're saying, okay, well, I don't get NFTs. But when I said, well, the NFT actually comes with a physical painting. And in this case, NFT might work as a certificate of authenticity,
Yeah,
right? They would understand that concept much better. And then you have the new audience that are very young people that are just, they grew up with in online, in
yeah,
digital world, right? To them, they might actually not care about the physical piece, but they
yeah.
love to have their metaverse room, whatever it is, that wherever they're going to put it in. So it's different audiences that are being
Yeah.
bridged. Hmm.
No, I completely agree. And like I say, with the new generation, I think like a lot of people are moving around a lot more. And so they might not have like one place where they can keep physical artwork. So when they have that digital piece as well, that means, like you said, they can display that in their metaverse room, or they can have that in their NFT wallet, and they'll actually be able to take that around with them wherever they travel and work. So I think it's, yeah, definitely a good thing to think about.
That's right. And that's right. And to get that, you need to understand also the mentality of that younger generation of those collectors. Like, for
Yeah.
example, there is, fashion for avatars, right? I would have
Yeah.
never thought about like buying a jacket for my avatar. But it's a legit thing. There is like
Yeah.
millions of dollars in that industry, right? This huge market, right? So this is just to kind of understand your audiences, and it all comes to, opening your mind and learning about those things.
Exactly. And I think we're just at the start here. It's very interesting to, be at the start of something like this and see
Ah,
where it's going to be in like 5 years' time. Who knows what's going to happen, but it's
yeah.
very exciting. Cool. And yeah, just a reminder, this is your last chance to ask, are there any questions? So if we have any more in the audience, please go ahead. I'm sure she'll be very happy to answer. And yeah, before we end, though, I just wanted to ask you one final question from me. Was what does the future look like for you, and what have you got up your sleeve next? Have you got any other collections you're working on, or are you keeping those under wraps? And also, I know like you're working with a gallery at the moment as well, and some exciting things.
Yeah, yeah. So I have few projects on the go. One is so I create digital artworks that are going to be for projection mapping. I've been doing that, so that's been fun, and that's coming out soon. Then also I work as a curator at the gallery. We put in lots of shows, and those shows will be innovative, and they will have lots of technology. So my own personal collection, the next one is coming out, and it's going to be physically shown probably May, maybe June. We'll see how it goes. So, and that's exciting, and I hope to incorporate augmented reality into it as well.
Awesome.
And some other, there is there is so many things, and never enough time. So, but exciting things to come for sure.
Definitely. 2023 is going to be a busy year for you, I
Oh,
think,
it's going to
Ola.
be a
You've got a
busy
lot
year for
going
all
on.
of us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Cool. So yeah, I'll just give some shout outs to those that have come along today. Obviously, we've had Balaji earlier, who says on point Ola. We got Sarah Jones, who says very insightful. It's been happening, and we got a message from Wayne Connell. Thank you, Jamie and Ola. So I actually know Wayne. Wayne's a lovely guy, and he runs a charity called Invisible Disability. So also check that out if you get a chance.
That's
Cool.
amazing. I will.
Cool, right. So yeah, I mean, thanks again for joining me on the Sunday session today, Ola. It's been fantastic as always to chat with you. And yeah, if anyone wants to find out more about Ola's art, obviously she's got the integration collection on the RealNifty marketplace. Please go along. It's for sale, and it really is fantastic. And like I said earlier, with each NFT you buy, you get the physical piece, which also integrates that amazing AR technology. So just go and try it out. It's absolutely astounding to me. And if anyone would like to contact you, Ola, with any further questions or to learn more about your art, what kind of platforms would you say for them to get hold of you, or to say follow your artwork, like socials? I know you're big on Instagram and LinkedIn and a few others.
Yeah, I think LinkedIn and Instagram are the best. Yeah, right now, because there's so many different ones, and I don't check them all the time. It's very difficult. So, but LinkedIn and Instagram, I won't miss it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and all the comments. I'm reading all the comments. I'm going to read them later too. And yeah, please feel free to reach me on LinkedIn with any questions, and yeah, and join the community here.
No, that's great. I mean, we just got a message in from George as well. He's saying, I love that you're integrating AR into your pieces. It'll be big in the future, and I love you're using it. I'm excited to see the two complement each other. I wish you all the best in the years to come.
That's so nice. Thank you, George. Thank you.
And I think that is, like George says there, it's just going to be so interesting to see where this goes, because this is just the start of where it's kind of getting more mainstream now, and all these amazing technologies are really just making people more creative. It's giving them more time to be creative as well.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
absolutely.
Cool. So yeah, thanks to everyone that listened today. I hope you all enjoyed learning something new. And as I just mentioned, please check out Ola's collection called Integration on RealNifty. That's www.realnifty.xyz. On next week's Sunday session, we'll be learning about another of our great launch artists on RealNifty, which is the wonderful Gianluca Francesi, which I'm really excited about. And I'll be dropping more details about that soon. So in the meantime, please enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I hope everyone has a fantastic week next week. And goodbye from me and Ola.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.